welcome to Film Talk with AJ Dean. I'm AJ Dean, your host, and I have my wonderful co-host, Paul Vato, with me. Hello, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing so well. Thank you for asking, AJ, and thank you for having me as your co-host.
I'm so thrilled that you are here. I love being co-hosting with you. It's wonderful. I really, really appreciate it. And we have a fantastic guest tonight. We have the amazing Deborah Richards. She is a film director and screenwriter from Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm thrilled. I'm so happy she's here. Hello, Deborah. How are you?
Hi, AJ. Thank you for having me. I'm humbled and honored, and it's a pleasure to be here.
I love it. I was so excited all day today. I couldn't wait. I was just so happy.
Aww.
And you're wearing pink, Deborah, and you look gorgeous. Let's get right into it, okay? Is that all right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so I have here on the second screen, Movemento Mountain. This is your feature film that you created, which will premiere in a limited theatrical release this summer, 2022. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. So Movemento Mountain is a drama shot like a thriller. It's about a real estate agent called Jenna Anderson who lives in Las Vegas, and she can't get over the crushing guilt of her daughter's death. So she decides to voluntarily peace out of society and become homeless on the streets of Sin City, Las Vegas.
Wow, that's incredible. So this has got themes of being homeless in America. So let me ask you, how is the homeless population there in Las Vegas, and what feedback did you get or receive for Movemento Mountain?
Sure. Well, there's a huge dichotomy in Las Vegas between the haves and the have-nots. There's about 30,000 people that are unsheltered currently in Vegas. And a lot of people don't know this, but there's about 700 miles of storm drain tunnels under the city, of which about 10% of the homeless population live in there. And so you've got about 3,000 people living underground in these tunnels. So when you walk on the famous Las Vegas Strip, your feet are literally 4 feet above those people living beneath you. And they have structure in the tunnels. They have communities, jurisdictions, even mayors. And so it's a whole nother world. But in order to deal with the subject matter with dignity and authenticity, my team and I, we worked very closely with Las Vegas Rescue Mission and Shine a Light Foundation, and who were really, really kind to take me into the tunnels and introduce me to that world. So I got to spend a lot of time with these people. And also Las Vegas Rescue Mission set up a lot of interviews for me with people that used to be unsheltered who are now in housing. And so I got to draw a lot of firsthand experiences and stories from these people that eventually made it into the movie. And I'm very, very proud to say that 10% of the proceeds of Movemento Mountain are going to 4 local charities that impact those most at risk in my community of Las Vegas.
Love that. I love that so much. Deborah, you are giving back to the community. This is so important, isn't it, Paul?
It 100% is, because I'm also in Las Vegas, and yeah, but and it's crazy to hear all this information and just know about the underground cities, but from television. Like you would think that in the 10, 12 years that I've been here that I would have met somebody, but we lead very protected lives. I come from my place in Summerlin. I go down to the casino, security's around, and unfortunately, if you don't have the means, you're not really welcome in the casinos. And that's not just downtown. That's especially, I would imagine, on the Strip. It's things where it's just these little microaggressions where, like, let me see your ID. They're like, I don't have an ID. We can't be in here without an ID, which is true, but they know who to single out and keep out of the casinos, because there's the stigma, and they don't want these, homeless people approaching customers that are spending money, and they want the money. They don't want you to share it with anyone else. So thank you for sharing that, Deborah, because I do forget that, because I'm here, I'm in the thick of it, but I don't see it. So I think
it's twofold. I think one, we tend to live with blinkers on a little bit, but then the other side of that coin as well, a lot of these people who are unsheltered don't want to be seen, they're ashamed, or they're embarrassed, or when many people encounter unsheltered people, they treat them differently. They don't treat them like people, they treat them like some kind of weird monster, right? And so we wanted to explore that in the movie, in the relationship between, the haves and the have-nots. And it is really strange because all of these people are someone's brother, someone's sister, someone's mother,
Yes.
and they're just regular people. And we are all three bad choices away, three bad decisions away from being unsheltered ourselves.
Absolutely. And Deborah, when you met the people that have now are living productive lives and have got housing, how did that make you feel? Are they doing okay?
Yeah, but their stories are absolutely gut-wrenching. I mean, like absolutely gut-wrenching stuff that will, your jaw will drop when you hear these stories. And what's so interesting about it to me is that I think we tend to assume that if someone is unsheltered, then it's because they're a drug addict or a drunk. And there are so many reasons why people are unsheltered. And we try and explore that in the movie. We didn't want to just portray them as one kind of people. And there are as many stories of homelessness as there are unsheltered people. So we wanted to, explore all those from the drug addict to the person who's punishing themselves, to the veteran with PTSD, to, all to the person who just felt prey to bad luck because their home burnt down in a California wildfire. Like we always think of, we tend to sometimes think of the unsheltered as the dregs of society, but it's just not true. It's an affordable housing crisis. And, when there are California wildfires that burn down a whole town and half of that town is unsheltered overnight, not all of those people have the family or resources or network or community to bounce back from that. And so you can have everyday average retirees, and all of a sudden they're out of a home. So it really is many, many different reasons. And so we really wanted to spotlight that in an entertaining manner, and because it's a feature narrative. And also we wanted to showcase Vegas in a way that has never been seen on film before, because usually in Vegas films, you see the casinos and that's it. Whereas in our movie, you get to see Summerlin, you get to see the shady streets downtown, you get to go up in the high rises because she was a real estate agent. So she's like showing properties. You get to see inside the casinos, you get to see under the tunnels, you get to see the desert. So there is no film ever in the history of cinema that has shown Vegas in the way that we show Vegas. So I'm very excited about that.
I am too. This is going to be a real treat. I don't think there's ever been there's not a movie that has ever been exactly like this. Move Me No Mountain. So I encourage everyone, when they see it in their theaters, in whatever cities that they live in, if they see it, to please check it out. It's going to be a fabulous, fabulous feature film. Don't you think, Paul?
100%. I mean, I know that there are all these locations in Vegas, but I rarely ever get to experience them or see them, because it literally is Summerlin to downtown and back, and that's it. I
understand. I understand. I'm in my little triangle too. I kind of do my little triangle. But this is what's so great about this movie, is that it's going to share, it's going to give us the chance to journey along with this real estate professional as she is at the height of her career and everything's wonderful, and then it all changes.
Absolutely.
Isn't that right?
And if you want to if you want to get the scoop on where it's showing, or you'd like to have advance notice about event screenings and red carpet opportunities and the premiere and all that good stuff, or if you just want to watch a trailer for it, we have a little teaser trailer out right now. And if you go to the website, movemenomountain.com, a little pop-up will show up and you can put your email in there. And then you'll be the first to know the scoop on all the details and everything going on with the movie. And then you can watch a little trailer. So I encourage you guys to do that, because that helps us out a lot. Movie making is all about connecting with your audience. And so that's what we're doing.
Yes, and you also have your own website too, if people are interested. What is that, Debbie? Debbie in the pink, or?
Debbie and Pink, but I mean, honestly, there's not really much on my website. There's not even a way to contact me. It's just a little blurb, something there. I need to revamp it and work on it, but I'm so busy with so many film projects and stuff that websites are a little bit like homes. There's always like one bit that you're proud of, one bit that needs fixing, one bit that needs tidying up. And I feel like I've neglected my web home a little bit lately, but the place where I'm most active on the internet, to be honest, is usually Instagram, which is the same tag as my website. It's just Debbie and Pink, no E in the middle, just Debbie and Pink, DebbiePink. And yeah, so if you want to follow along with my journey, then check me out on Instagram because I'm pretty active there.
Yes, and then you're also on Facebook too. So I want to let your fans know and those who support you that they can also follow you on Facebook and Instagram. I did want to ask one other question about Movemento Mountain. How long did it take to film?
Right. Well, it was a really, really fast experience, right? So I was the writer, director of photography, and editor. So essentially channeling Stanley Kubrick on his first movie because he did the same thing. At least that's what I'm telling myself. So it was about 3 months to write it, 3 or 4 months to raise the money. It's an independent feature, so it's under $1 million. And then it took 21 days to shoot the movie, which was grueling because it was 6 days on, 1 day off, 6 days on, 1 day off, I guess. Yeah, so 21 days. And my schedule was like from 4 in the morning every day till 11 at night. So it was a real butt kicker. And I knew it would be. I knew it would be mentally challenging and physically challenging because when you make a movie, there's always the imponderables that you can't plan for, right? Like you're planning to shoot in a dry desert and it rains that day or something crazy, so you have to be able to mentally pivot. So, in the course of that 21 days, I knew it would be an ass kicker. And guess what? It was. Physically and mentally, it was challenging, exhausting, exhilarating, frustrating, rewarding, all of the things.
That's amazing. And that's amazing. ING. Debbie, I love it. I love what you said, Deborah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. What were we going to say?
Oh, I was going to say now it's in post-production, which is taking about 6 months. And then like you said earlier, it comes out this summer.
Yay. I'm so looking forward to seeing it. Aren't you, Paul?
100%, especially because, it's a project that was shot here in Las Vegas, which is my new home. Of course, I'll probably eventually end up back in LA. But anytime that there's a project being done in Las Vegas, I'm very proud. And especially if it's being, shot through or through the lens of truth and reality, where it's going to expose people. Because every single movie you've seen about Vegas, it's the strip and gambling and fun and the parties and whatnot. So this is very refreshing to see. Yeah, so thank you for doing that.
Oh yeah, I love. I've been in Vegas 22 years, and all of my stories are Vegas centric. And I think Vegas is an amazing place because it's so diverse. And it is, it's so rich of history and diversity. And people that say there's no culture in Vegas, well, they're not looking hard enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that all the time. I think, people have only visited the Strip. I mean, for one thing, they didn't even know that there's a downtown where Vegas actually started in 1905. 1906 was the first casino. I mean, I could go on for hours talking about the history, especially
like the Golden Nugget, Paul.
Yeah, well, the Golden Nugget was probably in the 50s or 60s. The first one was the Golden Gate Casino, which was 1906. But that's where downtown is. It's Golden Nugget. Binion's, where the World Series of Poker started. The Golden Nugget is right across the street. The Four Queens. Now there are some newer casinos that were recently built. But, even that, people don't even oh my God, there's this whole downtown. Like, I didn't even know about this because they just know the Strip. So they definitely don't think that there's any culture here. The Smith Center, and is that what it's called here? I should probably know. But just different venues for theater and ballet and I mean, the Mob Museum, things like that. So there's definitely history and culture here, but it gets rebuilt so often that people don't realize that.
It's one of the few cities in America that you can go snow skiing and water skiing in the same day. If you've got the energy, you practically could do that. But it's funny you mentioned 1905, the year that Vegas was founded, because that's the name of my production company for that reason.
Oh wow! No, I had no idea. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, there's such history there. It started at 1 Fremont Street, which is a corner of what is it, Main and Fremont, and yeah, that started right there, and that's the address. When phone numbers came, their phone number was the number 1.
Oh wow!
Yeah. So there's a lot of history there.
Sorry
And
about that.
I love our state motto, "Battle Born." And I never shy away from a fight, so I love that. I'm always like hashtag Battle Born.
You're a tough cookie, and I love that about you, Deborah. I did want to ask.
You gotta be in the movie biz, right? You gotta be in the movie biz. It's a little bit rough and tumble out here.
And eventually, if you're not in the beginning, you will be after a few years. There you go.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, the movie biz is a tough business, and being a female filmmaker in the movie business, I've learned to bump a few elbows and push my way to the front of the line because you have to.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. And Paul, did you want to ask Deborah any questions? I had another one I wanted to ask, but I wanted to ask you first. Is there anything you'd like to ask her about the film industry or working in a future project together? I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's it. That's my question. I would love to I would love to be in your next project. At least I'd like the opportunity to audition because I mean, you've made us, I think, I mean, speaking from knowing you through Clubhouse and being there and watching you go through this process, because I remember you saying we're going to make a movie in Vegas. I'm going to do this. And then it actually happening. And I remember when you were shooting it, but yeah, raising the money, doing all that. So very proud of you. And thank you for making Vegas, part of the movie. I mean, it's another character, I think. So thank you.
Absolutely. And you know what's funny, Paul, is people ask me all the time on like Clubhouse or social media and stuff like, how can I be in one of your movies? And the easy answer is, honestly, be my friend. Because the first people that like even before it gets to auditions or anything, when I'm writing, I think about my friends, because I always have this thing of like, well, what if no one wants to do this? Well, hopefully at least my friends will. So
well, I hope I'm your friend, and I would love the opportunity, but also any help that you might ever need, I'd be more than happy, even behind the scenes, to just don't be afraid to reach out. I'd be more than happy to help out.
Thank you.
Of course.
Feeling the love. Thank you.
Me too. Hearts all around. I love that so much. I know our Paul though, don't I, Deborah? I know our Paul. He's a comedian. He's an actor. He's wonderful. He's also a business owner. I just wanted to give you a shout out, Paul. Back to you, Deborah. I did want to ask you, we're talking about the film industry, and you have amazing experience as a professional, one of the top professionals in the film and the new Hollywood industry. What needs to change in the film industry? Can you tell us and share us with your thoughts?
Oh, that's a very, very interesting question, and I have a controversial answer right off the top of my head. This is something that people don't speak about, okay? All right, so the business model for making independent cinema is somewhat broken, okay? You have to go through a lot of effort and spend a lot of money to take a very big risk to potentially make very little money, okay? And the easiest way to tip the scales on that from a production entity point of view is to keep production as truncated as possible and as short as possible, because the cost of making a movie balloons when it's production time, when you're actually shooting the movie, because that's when the most amount of people are involved. So the less days you can shoot, if you can do it in 10 instead of 11, that's better. If you can do it in 9 instead of 10, that's even better, because that keeps the cost down. But the problem with that is this. Means working ridiculously long hours, and it means accidents happen when you work ridiculously long hours and people are exhausted. I feel like the movie profession is the only industry in the world where we're fighting for a 12-hour day, because we're used to 16 and 18-hour days. So I believe what has to change, the only thing that can address that economical balance is for the end user to absorb the cost. And what I mean by this is we pay $12 a month for Netflix or $15 a month for Hulu or whatever it is. And at such a low cost, we get thousands of movies streamed into our living room at the touch of a button. At that cost, it's a golden age for the consumer. The consumer is winning out so hardcore right now. But, you know, if the cost of that increased a bit, and that would address the balance of the economics so that you wouldn't have to, you know, put out this much money to make this much money.
Right.
You know, that would address the balance, and then that would make the industry safer. So I think we're getting to a point in time. It's almost like in the Industrial Revolution when enough people lost a finger in the sausage factory, the workers united and said enough's enough, right? we gotta drive up the price of sausages.
Yeah.
And I think that's what needs to change in the film industry.
I love that. I love your answer. What do you think, Paul?
I love the answer. I'm very leery that the Netflix that be, you know, I probably shouldn't. Hang on, who am I not pitching to? No, but I'm leery.
Well, we're on the Roku channel, so you can, you know, this is going to be on the Roku channel. We just created it today for Film Talk with AJ Dean. You can mention that, right?
Yeah, but not, you know, it might not be in a good light because I don't know if they would pass the money on. If they increase, you know, how do we make sure that money, that if it gets increased, that they're just not like, oh, thanks, more money for us, but rather that it's guaranteed that it gets passed on to the, you know, to the artists and the people creating that actually need that. I mean, and I don't know the answer, you know, because obviously it's a business. So you want to make money and continue to be in business. But we'd have to figure out a way that people are like, yes, I'm going to contribute an extra $1 or $2, but I want to go into this creator fund or something. You know, I don't know what the answer is.
I absolutely agree with you, and that's why I prefaced it with this a controversial answer. And the problem is what you're talking about is the problem with accounting in general in the movie business, because accounting in the movie business is the one area where it's the easiest to fudge the numbers. So
Sure.
It's prime and ripe for abuse, right? So yeah, I mean, obviously, clearly, I don't have all the answers, but something's got to give, man. Something's got to give, because when you've got a whole industry fighting for a 12-hour day, that's wrong.
What about if I mean, of course, there's this whole new thing with NFTs and funding our own projects that way. And then now, you know, then we're the one that's ultimately responsible for that. So I don't know if maybe that's part of the answer is getting
well, NFTs. It's interesting because NFTs is it's funding a movie through NFTs is very, very similar in principle as funding a movie through crowdfunding, because you're essentially taking donations because they're not participating in a profit share of the film. You're taking a donation and they're getting a perk, whether it be the utility attached to the NFT or whatever. And I think funding movies through these modern technologies, crypto and NFTs, it's a fantastic strategy, but it's just one of many, many strategies, right? Like with our movie, we attempted to fund it through crowdfunding, through hard equity, where the majority of the money came, but we also took donations, and we also did product placement, and we also applied for grants, and we also, you know what I mean? There's many layers of funding to projects.
I think that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Deborah, for that. And I want to switch gears now and talk about your other film, your short, Dark Lights. Can we talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. It's pretty exciting. It seems so long ago. Dark Lights is a short that I did that came out in January of last year, and it enjoyed a really healthy film festival run. It did it got some 45 honors at film festivals last year. And it just came out a couple weeks ago on Tubi.com as part of a feature anthology called The United States of Horror, where each short film represents a different state around America. And not only do we represent Nevada because it's a Vegas horror story, but we're also the first short in the movie, and it's getting a lot of attention because it's narrated by Pinhead from Hellraiser, Doug Bradley, and that's available right now on Tubi.com. You don't need an account, you don't need to set anything up, it's completely free, and you can watch The United States of Horror, and the first short is Dark Lights. And I don't want to give away what the twist is, but it's a very neo-noir, almost cyberpunk-esque horror about
I loved it.
about a very mysterious character called Joy. So,
I loved it. That's all I'm going to say is I loved it, and you've got to see it. So congratulations on that, Deborah, and congratulations on Movemento Mountain. And Paul, before I send it back to you, I'd like to ask you, Deborah, what is this great picture that we see here? You're absolutely gorgeous. Well, you're gorgeous now here with us, and also in the photo. Where was that, and what was that award? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. That was about a year ago at the Chinese Theater in LA at the Micho Film Festival. They screened Dark Lights, and the award was, I won that night for Best VFX.
Wow.
But Dark Lights has been phenomenal because it's won awards for Best VFX, Best Director, Best Cinematography, Best Monster, Best Horror. But that was a wonderful night, and I was so excited to walk the red carpet that night, and then I found out it was yellow. But you know what's incredible? The Micho Film Festival, they did their meet and greet on this app that I had never heard of before called Clubhouse. And that was my introduction to Clubhouse, was because of the Micho Film Festival. And I'm very, very proud to be an alum of Micho Film Festival because it's an amazing LA festival. And they really, really champion minorities and up-and-coming rising stars in Hollywood. And they've built a great community around that festival. So mad shout out to the Micho Film Festival, and thank you to them for allowing me to be part of their family.
Yes, and we thank them as well. I also want to thank Clubhouse for bringing together you and I, Deborah, and also you and I, Paul. I want to thank Clubhouse, if anybody listens out there or who works for Clubhouse. Thank you so much. You have changed our lives and made it so much better. Over to you, Paul.
Wow, no, once again, I mean, I'm just so thrilled, and I can't wait to see this film because I did a movie with Nicolas Cage and Elijah Wood. I mean, I just had a small part in it called The Trust. And part of that was he had agreed to do 5 films here in Vegas. So he was actually supposed to do this cop film in Boston or something, but he so I know that it can be done. I think, and Deborah, you could maybe speak to this more because you recently went through the process, but getting funding or at least tax breaks and things like that. I know for a while there, when I did this movie 4 or 5 years ago, that there were, tax refunds and things like that. So is that still going on in Vegas and Nevada, I should say?
So the Nevada Film Office, the NFO, do a fantastic job of encouraging people to come and shoot here in Las Vegas and Nevada. And they got a great little team down there, and they really help filmmakers get everything situated and organized. But, it still is a very good tax incentive. Unfortunately, it's not as good as some other states. It is better than LA for sure. It's ironic that Hollywood has one of the worst tax incentives for movie making. But we in terms of competing with some of the other states like where's Arizona? Mexico.
New Mexico.
Yeah. They got a fantastic film incentive. So we do have that, but it's not as good as it can be. It's something I personally hope to address in the future through a project that I'm working on that I can't speak about. But Vegas is a great place to film. We have a real variety of locations, and we have extremely talented people out here. So I love Vegas. What can I say? It's a sunny place for shady people.
Oh, that's terrific. That's awesome, Deborah. That's awesome. I love that. I love your answer on that. Thank you for that. I did want to ask you the ugly side of the movie business. Can you share with us what you think about that?
Sure. Well, I've been freelancing as a writer, director, and editor for nearly 15 years now, and through my experiences in the movie business, I've kind of made every mistake along the way, because I'm somewhat out here in the boondocks of Vegas, not in one of the major central production hubs. So I've operated in somewhat of a bubble, and as such, I've encountered bad business practices and predatory business practices. I think Hollywood probably shares this with the music industry, because it's an industry built on hopes and dreams. It's poised for abuse and predatory behavior at every level. And I feel it's almost like this layer of pixie dust throughout every level of the industry. Whether you're an immigrant fresh off the boat and walking down the street in LA and people are trying to give you flyers to take your photo for like $500, and then they take you into a little back room and take a photo with their iPhone. Whether it's predatory behavior at the lowest level like that, to shady distributors fudging the numbers on the accounting, or anything in between, or predatory, film festivals. There is many film festivals as there are bartenders and strippers in Vegas, right? So they're not all fantastic. Some of them are they're just there to make money.
Yeah.
And so all these predatory services, at one point or another, I feel like I've experienced them all at every step of the way, and now I'm extremely savvy.
And now you're seasoned.
Yeah, now I'm seasoned and savvy, and I can spot these scams and this nonsense from a mile away. I tell people, like, living 20 years in Vegas, my bullshit meter is off the scale, right? So I can spot these things, but I feel very passionately about identifying them and letting other people know, and how important it is to call out nonsense when you see nonsense.
Yes.
Because so many people, they'll either get scammed or they'll be a victim of some predatory behavior, and they won't say anything because they're either embarrassed, or they're scared of persecution, or they're scared of a loss of community. And the problem with that is, if you don't say anything, then it gives other predators or people, like the reason why Harvey Weinstein got away with the stuff that he did was for so long was no one spoke out. So I think it's so important, as professionals in the industry, that we call out BS when we see it.
I love that.
And that's a platform I stand on.
Thank you so much for that, Deborah. You are amazing. Don't you think, Paul?
100%. I'm so glad that you've put this series together, AJ, and have just booked, I think, some of the best talent that I know. And we get to chat on Clubhouse and whatnot, but we never get to talk like this without those people interrupting us. So this is fantastic that we actually get to know a little bit about each other and learn about our very special guests. So thank you for being a part of this, Deborah. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm humbled. And it's so nice to actually be able to put like moving faces to voices, because we all know each other from Clubhouse. And for those of you who don't know, it's like an audio drop-in app. So it's kind of like listening to the radio, where you can kind of chime in at any time. But and you see little icons of people's smiling faces, but I rarely get this opportunity to see your beautiful faces in motion. So it's
I was about to apologize for that and say sorry, but this is actually what I look like.
You're handsome, Paul. You're so handsome, and Deborah, you're gorgeous. I love pink on you. I can see why you love that color, because I love it too on you. You look absolutely fabulous.
You know what's so funny? Two things. First of all, Paul, we have a saying around here: no sorries. Yeah. And then the other thing about the pink, it's so funny. The day I was picking an email account, I was trying every combination, and I just ended up putting Debbie in pink for my Gmail, and then the Instagram, and then I picked an Instagram, and that was available, and then it was available for my Twitter, so it ended up becoming Debbie in pink. And now when I meet people, if I'm not wearing pink, they act disappointed. Like it's a thing, like all I ever wear is pink.
Yeah, so I wore my pink nails for you, and I also got a fan, a pink fan.
Nice. That's beautiful.
A pink fan until we meet again. And I'll say that in a few seconds, but the light has gone off. My timer My timer is
went so
flashing.
fast.
It went so fast. And Deborah Richards, you are so wonderful, and we love you so, so much. Thank you for being
Thank you.
with us. We want you on again. We're going to have you on again, okay, Deborah?
Yay.
Okay. And
Next time I'll
Paul?
bring my dog Cookie.
Yes, we want you to bring Cookie next time. And any final words, Deborah?
Sure, just be nice to animals, be good people. Go to movemenomountain.com, put in your email, because I would love for you guys to see this movie. I think it's an important movie. It's an interesting and fun movie. And yeah, guys, let's all be kind. Love is the answer. Let's all look after each other and be our brother's keeper and make the world a better place.
I love that. Amen to that. And Paul, over to you for final thoughts.
I cannot top that, because everything Deborah said is 100% dead on. Let's be nice to each other. And visit vato.tv or paulvato.com. And from there, you can connect with me across all social media. And please, of course, follow Film Talk with AJ Dean, and follow all of AJ's social media, and of course, all of Deborah's, Debbie and Pink, which, you know what? You asked for it, Deborah. You made your own brand. Now you gotta have to live with that. So
it's so funny. People always like, I thought you would be wearing pink, and I'm like, sorry.
It's wonderful. And
thank you again, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure. And Deborah and Paul, until we meet again.
I don't have a fan. Okay, bye.
I'm sending you one. I'm sending you one in the mail. Okay.
I know you are.
And Deborah, I'll send you this one. Okay.
Oh my gosh, what a treat! Thank you.
Okay, I love you.
All right,
Bye
guys,
for
have
now.
a beautiful night. Bye bye.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.